Hello, Accelerated Chemistry students. This is Ms. Crystal Foley, and this is your Chapter 1, Section 4 video notes all over problem solving in chemistry. So there are skills used in solving problems, and you apply some of these skills to your everyday life. And the skills that you do always involve developing a plan and then implementing that plan. So the skills that you would use to solve a word problem in chemistry are no different than what you decide when you go to a store to buy something. You look at, if you're in a grocery store, you might look at the labels or you might look at price, and then you make a decision and then you actually purchase the item. The same thing is true for when you're solving word problems in chemistry. Now, there are two kinds of problems that will be in chemistry. One is numerical problems and the second one is non-numerical problems. So we're going to first talk about the steps to solving a numerical problem. So there's 3 steps. The first one's analyze, the second one is calculate, and the third one is evaluate. So let's talk about each of these in more detail. So first, when you analyze the problem, what you're doing is you're going to determine what is known. So you're going to read the problem and determine what the problem gives you. Then you're going to determine what is unknown. What are you solving for? Then you're going to determine if the unknown requires units that are associated with it. Then you're going to make a plan to solve for the unknown using what you were given in the problem. The second step is to calculate. So for some problems, you'll need to convert a measurement from one unit to another to solve for it. Or in other problems, you might need to rearrange an equation, and then it's going to be a plug and chug problem. And then the third step is evaluate. And then when you evaluate your answer, you're going to look to see if the answer is reasonable. Does it make sense? Did you copy the data correctly? Did you choose the right equations to use? And does your answer have the correct units and the correct significant figures? The significant figure part we're going to talk about more in detail in a later chapter, but for right now, that is what we're looking for. So let's look at a sample problem. We're going to estimate the walking time. So you're visiting Indianapolis. You decide to walk from Indiana State Capitol to the Murat Center for an afternoon performance. According to the map, the shortest route from the Capitol to the theater is 8 blocks. So how many minutes will the trip take if you can walk 1 mile in 20 minutes? And you're going to assume that 10 blocks equal 1 mile. Take a second, pause this video, and see if you can solve this on your own. Okay, let's go through the 3 steps. So first, analyze. Let's list the knowns and unknowns. So this problem is an example of a conversion problem. So 1 unit of measure, the blocks, must be expressed in different unit minutes. So our knowns are the distance traveled, so that's 8 blocks, the walking speed, which is 1 mile, which is for 20 minutes, and 1 mile is equal to 10 blocks. And the unknowns in this case are time of the trip, which is we don't know, but we do know the unit is going to be in minutes. So let's calculate. Solve for the unknown. So divide the number of blocks to be traveled by the number of blocks in 1 mile. So remember, the relationship is that 1 mile equals 10 blocks, and that can be interpreted as 1 mile per 10 blocks, and that per is going to be a division bar. So we're going to set up the problem like this. Blocks cancels because this is in the numerator and this is in the denominator. And then we're left with, we have to multiply. So 8 times 1 is 8, divided by 10 is 0.8. So this part of the problem asks for 0.8 miles is going to be traveled in 8 blocks. But remember, this problem is not asking about how many miles we traveled. It wants to know how long it will take. So we need to go another step. So we're going to multiply the number of miles by the time it takes to walk 1 mile. So 0.8 miles, and it takes 20 minutes to walk 1 mile. Miles cancels again, and so we're left with 16 minutes because we're going to do 0.8 times 20, which is going to be 16. Make sure you notice how the units cancel. Because these units cancel, you can determine that you've set the problem up correctly. The last step, remember, is to evaluate. Does the result make sense? So the answer seems to be reasonable. It's reasonable to take 16 minutes to walk 8 blocks. The answer has the correct unit because the answer is in minutes, and the relationships are used correctly. Now, the second type of problem that you can have in chemistry is a non-numerical problem. So this is going to be a two-step problem-solving approach. So the first step is going to be analyze, and the second part is going to be solve. So let's look at an example. So scheduling classes. So Manny needs to schedule his classes for next year. The school day is divided into 7 periods, and he must take Algebra 2, Art, Chemistry, English, History, and Physical Education. Using the information from the course catalog, find a way for Manny to schedule all of his classes. So Algebra 2 is offered during first or second period. Art is offered during second period only. Chemistry is offered during either third or sixth period. English is offered during either sixth or seventh period. History is offered during fourth or seventh period. And physical education is offered during fourth period only. And lunch is scheduled for fifth period. Take a minute, pause the video, and see if you can figure this out on your own. Okay, so first let's analyze. So we're going to identify the relevant concepts. Well, Manny has to have lunch during fifth period because that's the only option. And art is only available during second period, so that's the only place where that can go. And physical education is only available during fourth period. So what we're going to do is we're going to fill those things in first. So I placed art, PE, and lunch in the appropriate periods in this schedule. So now we have to place all the rest of them. So now we're going to fill in the remainder classes. Since art is only available during second period, that means that Manny has to take Algebra 2 during first period. And since PE is only available during fourth period, he must take History seventh period. And then the rest of his classes will fall into place. Always. All of the information on these Google Slides has been acquired and adapted from Pearson Chemistry's 2012 edition of the textbook resources CD and Pearson.com. Thank you.